All right, they are one of the best high school football programs in Minnesota, and one of their players is in a wheelchair.
But what seemed like an impossibility serves as an inspiration in one northern Minnesota town. WCCO's David McCoy tells us the story of a sophomore who is redefining the meaning of disability.
Rebel football in Moose Lake is pretty big. It's the biggest sport this town has.
Good job, good job.
When you've won 11 section titles the last 17 years and gone to state the last 10 years in a row, the typical excitement over the hometown team is magnified even more.
Just to be a part of that, I think really, he has a lot of pride.
He is Danny Lilya, the Rebels' holder for extra points and field goals. Perhaps the least likely person in school to play football, who just might be the proudest rebel of them all.
Nobody really thinks that you can play football while disabled, but here we are now.
We had an ultrasound in January.
Danny's parents knew he'd never walk before he was even born.
And they were going, there's the 5 fingers, there's 5 fingers here, there's 5 toes, there's 5 toes. Do you want to know the sex? We're like, yeah, it's a boy. Here's the face. And then they went up and down the spine. And then she would pause. And then she would go up and down the spine on the ultrasound. And I said, there's something wrong, isn't there?
Danny was born with a broken back caused by a spinal birth defect.
They did a spinal reconstructive surgery when he was 6 months old. And he was in a body cast from 6 months to 1. He didn't ever know that he was any different until he was 3.
He's been determined not to be ever since. Danny likes to remind people he's just a normal kid.
It's not really too different.
Hangs out with friends, gets decent grades.
Just have wheels for legs.
Occasionally goofs off in shop class.
Okay, how am I supposed to do this?
A skateboard holder? Because you're so good at skateboarding, Daniel.
Gives it out as good as he takes it.
Wait, you don't even know what you're doing.
When you experience the world through a wheelchair, what seems normal to you can seem extraordinary to others. Like being on the football team. I mean, why wouldn't he be? Which is why when a teammate suggested at the end of last season that Danny should be the team's holder, his reaction?
Yeah, I can do that. So talked to the coach about it, and he liked the idea.
You know, part of Rebel football has always been including everybody, and we've had a lot of kids as a part of our program that have been what other places would consider non-athletes. And we really try and create a family atmosphere here.
He always says everybody has a role on the team, so I guess I found mine, and it's just unbelievable.
Like a lot of small school teams, the Rebels go for 2 most of the time, so Danny doesn't get into every game. The opposing coach and referees have to okay it too. But when he does...
And when you finally do get in, it's just the best feeling in the world. Being able to finally be part of a team that accepts you and likes you for who you are.
And they welcomed him with open arms. And it's something he can do with the boys in his grade and the few grades ahead of him and be part of a team in our small town.
Before the wheelchair kind of becomes invisible. Even the community, when they see him wheeling across the field, I don't think people really see the wheelchair anymore. He is every bit a part of that program as able-bodied athletes that are out there.
Yeah, the wheelchair doesn't define you. If you want to do something but you're disabled, if you have the right mindset, you can still go out there and do it.
Just like Danny Lilya. David McCoy, WCCO 4 Sports.
Danny is also a very talented sled hockey player. He is the youngest member of the Minnesota Wild's team by a decade and has a good chance of making the U.S. Paralympic team in the not-too-distant future.